welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for your love, for your support. If you are new to the channel, you're welcome. If you have not subscribed, please, I would appreciate for you to hit on the subscribe button. Please subscribe to my channel. And then if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. I would appreciate for you to like this video, okay? So guys, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a female shirt, an oversized female shirt. So you can see the picture. Yes, this is really trendy and cheeky. So that's what we're going to learn how to do today. I'm going to make it as simple and as easy as possible. You know, guys, when I say easy and simple, you know that is what my tutorials are about. So even as a beginner, you will be able to pull this off after watching this video. Okay, so just keep watching. Like I said, if you find the video helpful, please hit on the like button. So it is a simple process. So I have my fabric here. This is like a cotton fabric. If you see, it is like a shirt fabric. They actually sell them. They are called sample materials. So I actually got 2 yards of this fabric. So this fabric, their length is always very long and deep. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be making use of, and I'm going to make use of my pattern, my basic bodice pattern. It's a simple process. You can use your free hand also. So these are the measurements that I'm going to be making use of for this shirt. So normally my bust is 36, so I added an extra of 10 inches to my bust. So it depends on how fitted you want your shirt to be. If you want it to be big and bogus like mine, you can add as much as 10 inches. And then if you don't want it to be as big as mine, you can just add like 2 or 3 inches to it. Just to follow the same process and you achieve the same result. Okay, all right, so I'm adding as much as 10 inches to mine. So I'll be using a bust of 46, and then the length of the dress, of the top, or the shirt rather, is 35 inches. And then my shoulder, so normally my shoulder is 14 inches. I added extra 2 inches. You know, it is a shirt, so I don't want the shoulder to be slim, so the shoulder needs to fall out a little bit. So I added an extra of 2 inches. So the shoulder I'm going to be using is 14 inches. So I'm just explaining all this. So because these are the things that matters. When after making dress, you find out that it's not looking like what you want. So these are some of the secrets, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold my fabric, and then we'll cut out the back piece first, and then we'll go ahead and cut out the front piece, okay? Okay guys, so you can see, so this is the length of the dress. So I just increased it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut now. So this is the back piece. So I'm going to use this to cut out the front. So I'll fold my fabric again now and then show you how we'll go about the front piece. Okay guys, so you can see I folded my fabric. So you see this is the front piece. I left about 2 inches. So you can see it's 2 inches bigger. So that 2 inches is going to be for my button allowance. So I'll just cut every other part is going to be cut the same, okay? So after cutting, I'm going to put notch, or just notch the extra, the allowance part up, and then I'll do the same thing on the down part also. I'll put a notch there. So the next thing, before we continue, let's cut out our neckline, okay? So it is a simple neckline. So for the neckline, the wideness of my neckline, I'm going to use 2.5 inches. That's what I will use for the neckline. I don't want it to be too wide because it is a shirt, okay? So 2.5, that's the wideness, is 2.5. You can see how I placed it there. The 2.5 is placed there. And then the next thing, the depth of the neckline. So for the depth of the neckline, I'm going to use about 1.5 inch. Okay, so this is 1.5 inches there. So I'll connect it with my curve like this. So it's going to be, I will extend it to this part like this. Okay, so you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut this out. So before I cut this out, The back one, I'm going to raise the back one a little bit. The back one is going to be 1 inch. I'm not going to use the 1.5. The 1.5 is for, that's the length, the depth of the 1.5 is for only for this back. Sorry, for the front one. So this is the back. So I'll cut it like this. Okay. And then the front one, I'll cut it like this because we're going to add a collar to it. Okay. So I'll place it again to check. Just make sure you double check it. Okay, and then I remember our notch. I'm going to put it back here like this. Okay, so I have everything is in place. So the next thing we're going to do now, let's give our shirt, let's give it a beautiful shape at the down part. Okay, so to shape it, I want it to be very curved at the down part. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to the edge of my dress like this. I'm going to go up as much as 5 inches. So this is 5 inches here, and then I'm going to mark that 5 inches. When I'm done, I'm going to check it. If I still don't like it, I'm still going to come down more. I want that beautiful curve on my shirt, so that's why I'm doing this. So I'm going to place my pattern curve like this, and then I'm going to curve it so you can see what I'm doing. So I even came up more, up to about 6 inches, so you can see. So I just want you guys to know. So the next thing now, I'll open the front piece. Okay, so the next thing now, I'm going to get my pin. So I'm going to pin it. Okay, so I've opened up my piece. So I'm going to show you how to go about this. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this. So this is one piece. I'll fold this in like this, and then I'm going to fold it, let it reach that part that we made notch on. Okay, like this. Just fold it tiny and then bring it here. So I'm supposed to pin it, but I noticed that it's not straight. So what I'm going to do, as just like I explained, I'm going to do that, and then I'll give it a good press to just so that it lays flat, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks like. Okay guys, so you can see I have finished ironing it down, so you can see it's laying flat, and then I've pinned it. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this back to my machine now, and then I'm going to run a stitch here on this line like this. So I'll run a stitch there, and then I'll bring them back. That's after running a stitch on it, I'll bring them back and show you, and then show you how to proceed to the next stage. Okay, so this is like a step by step of how to sew a female shirt. Okay, so you can see I finished ironing, and I finished stitching and ironing it, so it looks fine and perfect. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to place this like this. Okay, and then I'm going to pin them together, and then I'll join the front and the back together. Okay, so I'm going to take the back piece like this, and then I'll place them, and then I'll stitch the shoulder, and then stitch the sides. So I'll do that and then iron it, and then I'll bring it back. So I'm not going to add any dart to this dress. You can add a dart if you want to. You can just add a dart, but I'm not adding a dart. And then after that, I'll bring it back for us to cut out the collar. Okay guys, so you can see our female shirt. It is looking so beautiful. So you can see it on the table. So it looks so nice, so good. So the next thing now, we are going to cut out the collar for our shirt. Okay, so to cut out our collar, first of all, I'm going to cut out the collar stand, and then the collar. So I'll cut everything together. So let's see, let's measure. So after measuring, just measure it round from one end to the other. So I got about 16 inches. Okay, so that's 16 inches. That's what I'm going to put for my collar stand. So the collar stand is just basically like a straight. So I'm just going to freehand it. So here is what I have. So that's 16. I'm going to divide it into two and then I'll add allowance to it, okay? So I'm just trying to see how to place it. Should I make it like this or make it stripe? I'm just trying to see. I think I should do it like this. Then the color will stand like this, okay? Yeah. So let's see. So I'm going to fold it. Let me check first. No, this is too short. So let's go. Okay. So I'll fold it. I'll just fold this into four, and then I'll place it like this. Okay. So that's 16. I'm going to divide that now into two. That's 8 inches. Okay. Sorry, I folded it into two, not into four. So 16, that which is 8 inches. So I'm going to add about 1 inch to it, or 1.5 inches. So because my what do you call it? My collar stand has to be longer than the collar itself. So since the collar neck is 16, so I'm going to add 1.5 inch to this. Okay, so I'm going to cut out 9.5 inches. I'll use half of an inch to stitch. Okay, so the next thing now, from this point now, I'm going to mark. So from this point, I'm just going to come down like this by half of an inch or quarter of an inch. So that quarter of an inch, I'm going to float it into this part because I'm going to cut out this part, okay? So you can see how I'm doing it. I just floated it in. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to determine how um, big I want my collar stand to be. So I'm going to do 2 inches. So at the end of the day, it's going to be reduced to 1.5 because I'm going to use from the 2 inches, I'll use the allowance to stitch it. So I'm just going to mark it like this and then I'll mark it. If you notice, it's not like entirely straight, okay? And then I'll mark it into this point. So for this part, you can give it any shape or design you want, okay? So you can see I just curved mine a little bit. So I'll go and I'll cut this off now. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do before I open it up, before I cut this open, I want to iron it. I want it to be straight. So I'm going to open it. I still have my lines. I'm going to open it like this, and then I'll iron hairstay on it. So you see how it's looking like. You see it's not entirely straight. I'll iron hairstay on it so it will be stiff. Okay. So I'm going to do that before I now cut it open because I want to stitch it. Okay, guys, so you can see this is my collar stand. So I've not opened the top part though. So I want to cut out the collar itself. So I have my fabric again. So you can see my fabric is folded into two. Okay. So I folded it into two and then I'm going to just fold it like this. So we're going to use it to cut here. So it is easier that way. You'll be able to eyeball it and check. Okay. So what we want to cut now, this part is where the collar is going to sit that I've not opened. Okay, so our collar is not going to get to this end, you understand? Our collar is going to get to at least like this point, okay? So here's what we're going to do. So I'm just trying to, the next thing first, let's measure the wide width of our collar, okay? So I have about 5 inches here, which is a little bit big. So I'm going to fold it first. Let me cut it out. Okay. So the next thing now, let's shape and dress our collar. So from this point now, I'm going to come, I'll measure here now, let's check. So this is 16. So we're going to use that 16, that original 16 for the collar. So you can see which is 8. So I'm going to place that 8 inches here. So this is where it's going to be. Add half of an inch to it for stitching allowance, okay? So from this point now, I'm going to come down by half of an inch. So that half of an inch, this is what I'm doing. It's just the same way we did for our collar stand. You can see I fluted it into this part. And then I'm going to measure the length of my collar. So from this point now, I want to measure the length of my collar. So I have about 3 inches. So I'm going to use about 4 inches for my collar. I want it to be big. I don't want a tiny collar. Okay. So I'm going to measure that 4 inch like that. And then I'll keep measuring that 4 inch like that. And then when I get to this part, this end here, I'm going to reduce it on that part. So from this part, that part, I'm going to reduce it to about 3.5 or 3 inches thereabout. So that now, I'm just going to float that into this part. Okay, so with that, you can see that this side is wide and then this side is short. So what I'm going to do, the same way what we did, I'm going to slope this part. So this part, I'm just going to extend it just a little bit. So I'll be able to give it a good slope like this, okay? So on this part now, this is the neckline part. So let's check, okay, to make sure that we have, okay? So on this part, so I'm just going to slope it in like this, okay? So you can see the shape, right? So the next thing, let me just trim this out. I'm just trying to explain it so it will be easy. So this one, I'll take it back again and go and iron my hairstay on it before I cut it open, okay? So I'll do that and come back and show you. This is the hairstay. Okay, so this is my collar and my collar stand. So I've opened the collar stand. So I've opened it up. So this is my collar. So what I'm going to do now, take my collar, I'll take it back to my machine and then I'm going to stitch here and then place it in. So I'll stitch it first and then come back and show you and then iron it properly. Okay, so after stitching, this is how it will look like. So the next thing now, I'm just going to take this, I'll place it here like this and then place this here and then I'll take it back to my machine. I'll stitch here and then stitch the sides and then I'll bring it back and show you how to fix it. Okay, so you can see I finished stitching. So the next thing now, I'm going to start stitching my collar. So I put a notch at the center of my shirt. So the next thing, so this is the down part of my collar. So my collar stay. So I just trimmed out a little bit out of it, and then I'll take the center, the exact center part also, and then I'm going to go and stitch it. So I'll take them together like this and then I'll stitch it all around until I'll get to this end. And then once I get to this end, I'll turn it like this and then close this side. So I'll do that, but I'm not going to stitch on this up one. It's just the back one that I'll stitch and then I'll bring it back. Okay, so like I explained, so after that, you just close the edge of your collar stand like that, okay? So I'm just trying to trim that out now. So this actually makes it really easy at the end of the day when you open it up. So you can see how neat it is looking. It looks really neat. So I'll just take out my pins now. And then what the next thing is for us to cover or rather close our collar. So it is a simple process in the closing of the collar. So this edge, you don't need to stitch it to the end, so it makes it easier. So just open up and then the next thing, I'm going to push this in a little bit and then I'm going to take this like this. Okay, so let me come closer so you'll be able to see it. So I'll take this, so I'll push this in and then take this like this. I'll push this in like this. So that's how I'll push this in. I'll push this one in, that's the stitch in, and then use this. So I'll iron it and then use it to cover it like this. So all of this that I'm explaining now, I'll do it on fold, that's on iron. So I'll go and iron it out neatly before I'll stitch. So this edge now, you just push this in and then open this part a little bit. So I'll do that and then come back and show you. Okay, so you can see our collar, it came out really fine. So you see, after stitching, so you can see how it looks like. Okay, it came out fine and okay, clean. So the next thing now is for us to cut the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'm just going to cut an oversized sleeve, a big sleeve, and then I'm going to add a band to it, okay? So I'll use my sleeve pattern to do that right now. Okay, so you can see I've placed my sleeve pattern. I just increase the length and then I increase the whiteness. So like I said, I'm just cutting an oversized, a, a bogus sleeve, okay? So the next thing, I'm going to cut a band for this. So for the band, the sleeve is going to get to this part. So when I put it on with the band, I'll just pull it up so it will not make it focus. Okay, so for the band that I'm going to use my wrist. That's almost like my elbow area, which is about 10 inches. So that's the sleeve, the band that I'm going to come cut out. So I'm just going to just a normal band. So I'm just going to fold that and then I'll cut. So the wideness of the band is going to be about 3 inches. So that's okay. And then I'll cut the length that I want out. Okay. So I actually want about 10 inches. So I'll just cut out about 13 inches and then I'll sew and I'll just sew it around. So I'm going to add interfacing on this band so it will be stiff. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to sew it like this on it. So just, okay, so I'll cut out the second one and then I'll show you how it looks like. Okay, so you can see I prepared the band just like I explained. So I've ironed the hairstay on it. So the next thing, so this is my sleeve. So I opened it up. So what I'm going to do at the center here, I'm just going to give it tiny pleats, just a little bit of tiny pleats just to pull it together. And then I'm going to stitch it like this and then join it on the side and then fix my sleeve. So I'll do that and then bring it back and show you how it looks like. Okay guys, so you can see the sleeve. So I finished stitching. So you see it looks really fine and beautiful. So the next thing now is just for me to fix my sleeve. Okay, so I'll just go ahead now back to my machine and then I'll go and stitch it round and then I'll place it on the mannequin for you to see the final look of our female shirts. Okay. Okay guys, so at the end of the day you can see how our shirt looks like. So I actually have not added any buttons to it yet. So I'm just trying it out for the first time and it came out fine. It looks so good. It came out just the way I envisioned it. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video.